Hi, hello friends. In the back-to-back series, here we go for third part. Which of the below is not a sign of respiratory distress? Nasal flaring, changing of posture to ease breathing, speaking complete sentences, cyanosis. The total number of fetal and early neonatal deaths per 1,000 live births is called fetal death, neonatal death, perinatal mortality, intrauterine death. The normal order of events taking place during the second stage of labor is descent, flexion, internal rotation, extension, crowning. Descent, internal rotation, crowning, extension, flexion. Descent, flexion, internal rotation, crowning, extension. Descent, flexion, crowning, extension, internal rotation. The vertical transmission of diseases occurs through droplets, direct contact, mosquitoes, placenta. The type of assessment done to compare the client's current status to previously obtained baseline data is called emergency assessment, initial assessment, problem-focused assessment, time-lapsed reassessment. Bacillus cereus food poisoning is commonly associated with the consumption of bottled honey, green beans, fried rice, baked potatoes. Respiratory rate multiplied by tidal volume gives total lung capacity, expiratory reserve volume, maximum voluntary ventilation, minute volume. The organ that does not lie in the pelvic cavity is transverse colon, urinary bladder, rectum, fallopian tube. In the diagnostic statement, excess fluid volume related to decreased venous written as manifested by lower extremity edema, swelling. The etiology of the problem is edema, excess fluid volume, idiopathic, decreased venous written. The dimension of health concerned with proper biological functioning is called spiritual dimension, social dimension, mental dimension, physical dimension. Let's review the answers. Which of the below is not a sign of respiratory distress? When a person have an air hunger, cannot complete the sentences. They have to take a breath in between the sentences. So this is a sign that there is no respiratory distress. So all others are signs of respiratory distress, whereas a person who could complete the sentences is not a respiratory distressed person. The total number of fetal and early neonatal deaths per 1,000 live births is called perinatal mortality. It is not only fetal deaths or it's not only neonatal deaths, it's together. In an antenatal period, a loss of fetus and a neonate together, that is early is within 7 days of life, together is cumulative of perinatal mortality. The normal order of events taking place during the second stage of labor is the mechanism of labor. That is what is expected out of it. If we know the mechanism good, we will be able to answer it. First, there is a descent. Once there is a descent, they start flexed inside the pelvis, and then they take a lead and rotate. Once a rotation is completed, a crowning occurs, and there is an opposite reaction because flexion has occurred already. Then there should be an extension. Through extension, the head comes out. So descent, flexion, internal rotation, crowning, and extension. The vertical transmission of diseases occurs through placenta. The type of assessment done to compare the client's current status to previously obtained baseline data is called time-lapsed reassessment. It's not like during an emergency I'm doing it, or the first contact I'm doing it, or towards the problem or the issue for which I'm doing it. There was already done before and I took some time to recollect it. So it's time-lapsed reassessment. So already there was an assessment done. I'm repeating. Previously obtained status is rechecked. Bacillus cereus food poisoning is commonly associated with the consumption of fried rice because we don't know how it is prepared. Respiratory rate multiplied by tidal volume gives minute volume. It's a formula which has been put into writing. The organ that does not lie in the pelvic cavity is transverse colon. It's not inside the pelvic cavity, it's all above, almost above the belly button. So transverse colon. All other things are within the pelvic cavity. It's a pelvic organs. In the diagnostic statement, excess fluid volume related to decreased venous return as manifested by lower extremity edema. The etiology of the problem is they have taken the options from the statement only, but then remember, while formulated the diagnostic statement, they have stated excessive fluid volume is there related to decreased venous return. That's a clue, decreased venous return. The dimension of health concerned with proper biological functioning is called, it's a biological functioning. Physic. Okay, it's a physical dimension. Thank you. If you like the video, subscribe and press the bell button.